Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and X-Men issue number 17. Yeah, oops. I'm positive I paid for the comic book, but likewise, I'm also positive that I put it in my backpack to take it home with me. I can't find the freaking comic book anywhere, so I don't know what's going on. So I can't actually show you the pictures and all that stuff, only what they provide for free online. Got a whole lot to say about this comic book, and it's, for the most part, really positive, which is I wonder why I made that decision. We're going to talk about that later after I'm finished with the review because I got something to say to you. And I think it will be fun to listen to. Anyway, my first gripe is going to be about Comixology because they assured me that they give all the details of the people who put the book together. Like, they actually tried to correct a tweet that I made. We always give credit to everybody who's involved in the comic book. Okay, sure. So according to Comixology, this was written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Brett Booth and the cover by Lanil Francis Yu. That's it. Nothing about the inks or the colors or the letters or the editors. Nothing. Nothing. So that's about like what? 10 billion, Professor Bill? Two. Maybe two for Comixology. Bruh. Y'all got to get your act together. Don't say that you do a thing if you don't do a freaking thing. This isn't about Comixology. This is actually about like, oh man, I had to freaking buy the comic book. I feel twice at this point. Anyway, we'll see what's up. Anyway, so I know some people are going to say also, check your receipt. Listen, I love my comic book store. I don't get a receipt. I try to save that little tiny sliver of paper. And I don't mind paying twice for a comic book if it's, whatever. Just, I'm here to support the comic book industry. You know what I'm saying? It's my main purpose here. So if I bought it twice, whatever. This was a good issue. I don't mind buying this one twice. The art on this, I'm just going to get right into, was absolutely freaking amazing. Listen, I've commented many times how much I like what Phil Noto is capable of doing, but in the previous issue, the biggest drawback to the comic book to me was the art. I kept falling back on the idea that the art simply wasn't there. Noto was choosing a particular style that just, it didn't work. Guys, feel free to check out my Captain Marvel review when I'm ready to do that one, because I'm going to talk a whole lot about art choices there. Here, I'm simply going to say, art choices, they matter. And when Phil Noto does something, I know that it's an art choice. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Brett Booth on here, he makes an entirely different choice. And I don't know if it was at the behest of Hickman. Hickman actually seems like the ringmaster type who would say, hey, I've seen you do this kind of artwork before. Do that for this one. And people are just like, yes, Master Hickman, because we're afraid of the beatings that might ensue. Hickman was the writer of both issues, this one and the previous one. And while I didn't like the way that the previous issue was formatted, some of the things were cool. Some of the things were interesting, like the idea of, a vote for the X-Men team and whatnot. In this issue, the writing felt a lot more like the 1992 or 93. What year was it that the new X-Men comic books came out? They were just titled X-Men, like the original X-Men comics were done back in, what was that, 64, 63, something like that? So this was, the new ones where Jim Lee jumped on the art and suddenly the X-Men were like, what? Like, that's a whole new genre of X-Men for people. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's a lot of the same teams, it was something entirely different. And this felt like a direct callback to that. When a lot of the younger audience, a little bit younger than me, would say this was the highlight of what the X-Men are. Actually, some people literally like 5 years younger than me would say something to that effect. You know what I'm saying? Which, that's fine. That's cool. For me, I looked at this, I'm just like, damn, this feels good. Because you could go back to the Jim Lee art style days. It's hard to go back to like the Dave Cochran days. You know what I'm saying? Like no disrespect, bro. No disrespect. Cochran's my mans. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard to go back to those days. It's hard to go back to the newspaper print days. Unless you're like an Ed Piskor and you can pull off something like that. But for here, going back to that 92, 93, 94 era of comic books that was a very, very bold choice. And it paid off. And I say that I think Hickman might have he might have pacifically with his Paschetti. I think that he specifically, see, you got to be able to make fun of yourself. Self-deprecating humor is the best kind of humor. I think that he specifically asked Brett Booth to come on board for this issue and specifically asked him to do this art style because Booth is capable of multiple art styles also. I've gone into a lot of his work in the past where, yeah, he's like a chameleon. He could just be like, who is this? Did Jim Lee come back and do this comic book? No, it was Brett Booth. Damn it, I should have known. Like, that's how I felt with this comic book. I literally had to double back and look, and it's like, is Lee on this? I half expected, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating for one moment when I say this, that I expected at any moment somebody to say, no, or in the text boxes to say, no quarter asked, no quarter given. And anybody who's back from that era will know exactly what in the hell it is that I'm talking about. If you're a new reader, sorry, inside joke, you're not going to get it. But for the old school readers, what was it? Like, if it wasn't every issue, it was every other issue where that term was stated, right? Claremont loved that statement. And I really expected to turn the page and just see that text box sitting there. In fact, if I had to say that there was one big disappointment in the comic book, it's that I didn't see that in this. Like, it would have made the comic book even better to see that. Knowing that Hickman has the ability to not only hire the correct artist for a comic book, one, the idea that he knows how to get, not hire, but, ask for a specific one, bothers me because in the previous issue, like I said, I didn't like the previous issue. I simply didn't like it. I don't think that anything matched up, and it really detracted from each other's work, the writing and the art, In this one, however, it matched up perfectly. Suddenly, Hickman is the chameleon. That's why I say that this must have been Hickman's choice to not only have the artist, but the style that the artist used, that Brett Booth used. Because Hickman actually starts writing like Claremont from back in those days too. The action in this was unadulterated. It was unabashed. It was unfettered. Like, it was wicked. There was a crack-a-doom moment in here, God damn it. How many times you have a damn crack-a-doom moment? And all of a sudden, there's a crack-a-doom moment in here. Storm and Cyclops are working side by side. You're suddenly seeing some of those mutant, what do they call them in this? The mutant genetic power makeup thing. The silly thing that they said, like with the fastball special and everything. Whatever. That was a little bit sillier than it should have been. In this particular case, I'm going with the silliness. You know what I'm saying? But it was great to see these two working together, especially when you know their history. Also, I ain't gonna lie, bruh. I wasn't like the biggest fan of Cyclops' previous costume. It's like, okay, cool. It's just another play on the exact same costume he's always worn. The only costume I ever saw that even looked remotely different was the X Factor costume. From X Factor issue number 1, the original one, Louise Simonson. Yeah, that one. This was a direct return back to that. And I saw it, and like with the art and the colors on this and everything, and working side by Storm with Storm in her black costume, seeing Jean in her X Factor costume, like, dude, get the band back together again, string up the quartet. I want to hear, you know what I'm saying? Like when you go to a concert and you start hearing the instruments tuning in the background, you just hear, and so it's the build-up because they're all testing their instruments to tune it. Yeah. That's what this comic book felt like all the way throughout. Meanwhile, there's a goddamn thunderstorm going on directly in your freaking lap as you're reading the comic book. It was wild to see something like this, and it was a callback, and it was a specific choice because Hickman chose to write like Claremont back in those days. Booth chose or was asked, directed, whatever, to draw this book like that comic book back in those specific days. Holy crap. Like, listen. Was there a lot of story here? Not really. But there was a lot of emotion, just like those books back in the day. And all of that, I'm not lying. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass. Most of this for me was just nostalgia. Because it's like, holy crap, I'm expecting to see Omega Red jump out and tentacles flying everywhere, right? Because that's the story I'm expecting to see in this. There was so much amp in this. I mean, Storm's shooting her lightning all over the place, and I could feel the freaking charge, right? Seeing Jean, she's going in a little telepathic astral type state and moving forward, and the choice of the colors in there looking like a freaking pink version of the Green Lantern. You know what I'm saying? Just moving forward and like looking for the person who doesn't have the psychic signature. That's the reason why the Shi'ar need the X-Men so much, because the X-Men are freaking specialists. They're the different view. They don't get caught up in the same old, same old. They're able to adapt. They're able to overcome. It's kind of what being a mutant is all about. This comic book was everything done right. If you don't have a great story to tell, which there was not a good, let's be honest, there was not a great story to tell in here. This was done in a way where it's like, we're just going to hit this hard. All right. Now, still, seeing the new throne, and this goes back to the Mr. and Mrs. X books by Kelly Thompson, where we see the new egg form and the new head of the Shi'ar and everything like that. Seeing all of this come forward, seeing all of this playing out, seeing the new Empress of Chandalar and you know, the throne of the Shi'ar and whatnot. This was actually interesting to see. Seeing Deathbird in the background trying to work things out. Totally playing out Sunspot. Sunspot effing up and almost screwing up Smasher and what's his name? Cannonball's plans. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. It's like, there are characters here, but this whole thing is just plot driven. That's usually not a bad thing, right? It can be. Go check out the Comic Book University Facebook group. I just posted something, by the time that you guys see this, 2 days ago, about when a comic book story is, or a manga story is purely plot driven, and how it can get very frustrating. One issue of this is good. If we have like 6 issues of this, if we have an arc of this, it's going to get frustrating. It's going to get annoying fast. So I hope that they understand what they're doing by doing this. This issue, psyched. If I see the exact same things, the exact same tropes being used in the next issue, I'm going to say it's bad. You guys are gonna freak out and be like, you said last issue was the exact same as this one, but last issue is good and this issue is bad. Yes, and this is why. This is why it will be bad, or at least progressively worse. It'll definitely be worse by the 6th issue, where it's like, I can't read this comic book anymore. You know what I'm saying? Look, I didn't turn around, and here's where the review actually ends. Just, it was a freaking fantastic comic book. It was great to see. If you guys want to see that hard hitting action that worked back in the early 90s, early to mid 90s, this is the comic book for you to see. A modern day take on that. All right. That being said, and I would love to know what the younger audience thinks about this particular issue. Also, don't forget, you can go and you can vote. Go and get the comic book, and you can actually see how you can vote on which team you want assembled for the X-Men. You've only got about a week, I think it is, to make the vote. I think it ends on February 2nd, so that would, yeah, that should make it 1 week where you can vote on who the next team is going to be. My peeps, I'm saying, my peeps, this was a really fun issue. So if you're interested, definitely go and get it. If you already got it, you probably already know this was a pretty good issue. If you disagree with me, let me know. Not just that you disagree, but why you disagree with me. My peeps, understand something. The previous issue, there were a couple people who said that they're unsubscribing and they're dropping off and blah, 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 and things like that. I appreciate all of my subscribers. I appreciate all of the people who view. To be entirely honest, though, the people who I appreciate the absolute tip-top most are actually not even necessarily the patrons, although I appreciate you in a very special way. Thank you very much. Love y'all. But the people who actually comment, and the people who comment intelligently. If you say, I disagree with you, I don't like it, or I agree with you, I like it, thank you for your participation, Mark. You know what I'm saying? But like the really good grades at Comic Book University, for me, all right, and I'm the one with the red pen. I should actually have a red pen in my hand to do that, but you get my gist, all right? You get my gist. The people who can actually make a good, solid comment, and there are a bunch of you out there. There's a whole bunch. I can't name everybody, but like Yeto comes to mind, and Brett comes to mind. There's a bunch of people who come to mind who just like when you make a comment, like it's a solid comment where, you know, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, one, you're not being a jerk to me because, you know, I wasn't being a jerk to you. When I get somebody who gives me a, you know, you just don't like this because you're a bit, again. You live in your mom's basement and you eat freaking Hot Pockets. But first off, don't you ever fucking disparage a Hot Pocket. I will beat you unconscious with a Hot Pocket, wake you up, and then beat you unconscious again. Like, dude, don't disparage a Hot Pocket. All right, I said what I said. It's out there. It's for you now. That it's yours now. I relieve myself of that burden. All right. That said, I don't live with my freaking mom. I'm 45 years old. Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? I send money to my mom so that she's going to be okay. I don't freaking talk about I freaking live with my mom. You know what I'm saying? I'm expecting any day my mom's going to be like, hey, can I come live with you? Because I'm getting old now. You know what I'm saying? But she's doing very well. like we're doing well. We're a family who, bootstraps. We finally found our bootstraps and we picked ourselves up by it. And every day we're picking up higher and higher. Come on, man. Like, what is that? What is that? This old freaking is this stuff that somebody said to you like multiple times and it hurts because it's true? So you're trying to I'm going to be the bat because I'm afraid of bats and a bat flew in my window. So I'm going to push my fear of bats onto you and become Batman. You're not Batman. You're a jackass. Don't freaking start throwing insults at me because I said something about a comic book that you don't like. I didn't say your name. I didn't say anything about you. I didn't even say anything about the viewers. I'm saying in general, comic book, and you say, you, okay, nerd boy. You know what I'm saying? All right. Just go read all you want. I honestly couldn't care less. You know, and especially when there's some internet rando, it's like, you never even commented before. Unsubbed. Do I know you? Last issue was a fun one. Bruh. The mean comments tweet almost came out. But the people who agree or disagree, and you've got a lot to say, and you take the time to actually type the stuff out, even if it's more concise and less, and I love the concise as opposed to it being just some wordy, breathy thing. Like when you can actually type out something, sometimes it actually changes my mind on something. I don't think I got too many of those in the previous one. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not here to be divisive. I'm here to review a comic book. That's all I'm here for. And if you're not here for that, then you shouldn't be here. I'm dead serious because I'm not here to validate anybody and say, you like the same comic book I did? You're a good boy. I can honestly care less if you like what I like or don't like what I like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here for that, and you shouldn't be here for that. I don't want to live in an echo chamber, and I hope that nobody does want to live in an echo chamber. I'm here to simply talk about a comic book. If I get excited over a comic book I like or I get disappointed over a comic book I like, I'm not going to apologize for the fact that I'm an emotional person. I'm simply not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? If you can't handle emotions, that's on you. Or if you can only handle a certain kind of emotion, that's on you. All right? I'll go get myself checked out for whatever. You need to go get yourself checked out for something also. Bro, I'm simply here to review comic books. That's it. If I like a comic book, I'm going to tell you I like the comic book. If I didn't like a comic book, I will tell you I did not like the comic book. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to try and fluff things up like a lot of the other people out there do. That's simply not what I'm here to do. So understand why I'm here, and it will better allow you to understand why you come here. I really only want people here. I know that I could sit here and be the guy who's just like, this was a great comic book. Wow, it was amazing. And then I would wind up getting like a whole lot more subs, a whole lot more views. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to review, honestly, comic books. That's it. My honest opinion. If you think I'm wrong on something or I missed something, please let me know, because it's only going to make me look at the comic book differently, or look at it with a different eye, knowing that I can look at it from different elevation angles, right? Or maybe come around the side and flank it. I love the idea of being able to view a comic book differently, and other people's walks of lives will help me to do that. I love to be able to analyze and overanalyze even a comic book. And if you're not contributing to that and you're just mad because I didn't like what you liked, I don't need you on this channel. I don't need your opinions. I don't need anything from you. And it's as simple as that. If you're not here with some level of emotional maturity where you can say, he didn't like a comic book that I liked? Well, he gave his reasons and whatnot. You know what? Whatever. Maybe he'll like it next week. Or, you know what, Professor Bell, you didn't like it. I don't know if you looked at it this way, though. And just boom, 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 boom. It's like, if you could do one of those, you're my favorite kind of fan. You're my It's not even about fans. You know what I'm saying? Wrong choice of words. You're my favorite type of viewer. You know what I'm saying? You're the type of viewer I enjoy actually interacting with. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, understand why I'm here. And this way, you'll better understand why you're here also. It's not worth showing up just to hear people say, I like the thing you like, so you're validated in liking this thing. I'm not here to invalidate or validate anyone. I'm not here to validate your parking. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about the comic books. I'm here for the comics, man. I'm here for the comics. Anyway, guys, I will talk to you guys later. Hopefully, the right people, so to speak, will be around to continue listening to that also. I know there's some people who are going to somehow take that personally. Again, didn't say anybody's names, at least nobody negatively. It's just, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Be here for the comics, all right? I'm not going to lie to you and tell you something's good because the writer or the artist contacted me and said, or Marvel contacted me and said, hey, we'll send you comic books if you say good things about. That's not what I'm here for. No, Marvel, piss off. I'm not trying to get in anybody's good graces. I'm not trying to get a job with somebody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to fight for subs or anything like that. I'm very content with where the channel is. And like this right now, this is exactly where I want to be. I just want to be the guy who just, you know, like or dislike what I've got to say. You know that I'm going to shoot from the hip. I am not going to blow smoke up your ass. I'm not going to tell you a comic book is good that I actually didn't like. You know what I'm saying? It's not what I'm here for. So sometimes truth hurts. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies, and I will talk to you later, but with no lies. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Like the video on your way out. Class dismissed.